The Galactic Empire spoke of itself as eternal, invincible, forged in starfire and conquest. Its fleet spanned constellations. Its soldiers marched across thousands of conquered worlds. Its banners hung over civilizations that bent their knees. Among themselves, they whispered that nothing remained that could challenge their dominion. They believed they understood all forms of resistance, that every species could be categorized, dissected, and subdued. To the Empire, humanity was no different. A primitive race of mammals, barely stepping beyond their homeworld, rich in emotion but fragile in strength. So when the order came to capture a small human family and present them for study, no one questioned it. The family was insignificant. At least, that was the assumption. They arrived in chains, escorted by armored guards aboard a prisoner transport. 3 daughters, young but sharp-eyed, their gazes too steady for captives. A mother who kept her head bowed, lips sealed, expression unreadable. And a dog, small compared to the towering alien soldiers, yet it bared its teeth with every step, as though it understood it had been taken into the jaws of an empire that had swallowed countless worlds. The soldiers laughed at the sight, dismissing it as an animal's useless defiance. The humans were placed in containment aboard a holding station orbiting a red star, awaiting transfer deeper into Imperial space. That was when the unease began. At first, it was small things. Guards reported flickering lights in the cell block. Security drones malfunctioned when scanning the human's chamber, returning static. The dog growled at walls where nothing moved. One daughter, the youngest, stared at her captors with such focus that a guard stumbled backward without realizing why. The reports were dismissed. The Empire had conquered psionics, broken telepaths, erased mystics. What could a small family do? Yet unease spread like mold in shadows. Interrogations began. The aliens demanded names, origins, alliances. The daughters answered with calm simplicity, never showing fear. They asked questions in return, sharp, curious, unsettling. The eldest tilted her head and wondered aloud why the guards' weapons hummed differently in her presence. The middle child asked if the Empire truly believed it had defeated death. The youngest laughed when they tried to frighten her. The dog, chained in the corner, growled continuously, eyes never leaving the interrogator. And the mother? She said nothing. She smiled once, but it was a kind of smile that unsettled even hardened soldiers. One interrogator left the chamber, refusing to return. He claimed the air grew colder when she looked at him. Days passed. The family did not break. The daughters whispered to each other in a tongue not recorded in imperial databanks, an old dialect no translator could pierce. The dog sometimes sat at the door of their cell, ears raised, as if listening to footsteps that were not there. On the 3rd night, a guard vanished. His shift log showed he had been stationed outside the human cell. Surveillance footage ended in static. When the system rebooted, the door was still locked. The humans inside, the dog staring at the camera with golden eyes. The guard was never found. Rumors spread. Some said the humans were cursed. Others claimed they were smuggling hidden technology. The command staff dismissed it as weakness of spirit. The Empire did not fear prisoners. But the unease did not fade. Engineers complained of systems failing near the humans' quarters. A pilot dreamed of voices, singing in languages he had never heard. The daughters laughed together in the dark, their voices carrying into the vents, where they should not have been audible. The dog's howl echoed through the station, and the sound made metal groan. Still, the Empire pressed on. They brought the family to a larger chamber, hoping to intimidate them. Alien banners hung overhead, and holoscreens displayed conquest of thousands of worlds. A general declared that Earth was only one more name on a list of victories. He described how humanity's cities fell, how resistance was crushed, how their species would be bent into service. He demanded the family kneel. The daughters stood tall. The mother raised her head for the first time. Her eyes, dark and unblinking, met the general's. He faltered mid-sentence. No words passed her lips, yet silence filled the chamber heavier than any speech. After that, the whispers turned to fear. The guards refused to patrol, alone near the humans, holding cell. 2 claimed to see the mother walk in the halls outside her chamber, though scans showed she remained locked inside. One technician resigned, muttering that he would rather face the front lines of war than another hour maintaining systems in her presence. The Empire ordered discipline restored. Fear was weakness. Yet in the shadows of the station, officers began to speak carefully, lowering their voices when referring to the captives. The daughters never wept. They never begged. They never asked for release. Instead, they waited. The youngest traced patterns on the floor with her fingers, patterns no alien recognized, but that made those who saw them uneasy. The eldest asked her captors whether their empire had mothers. When one scoffed, she replied, "Then you do not understand what you have taken." The middle child whispered to the dog, who wagged its tail as if understanding words beyond sound. The mother remained still silent, but her silence grew louder with each passing day, filling the spaces between alarms and footsteps. Another disappearance followed. This time, 2 guards failed to report after standing watch. Security systems showed them at their posts until static devoured the feed. When visuals returned, their weapons lay on the floor, their armor empty. No bodies were found. Command claimed it was desertion. Others knew better. One soldier confided to his comrade that the walls whispered his name when he passed their cell. Another swore that in his dreams, he saw the mother standing over his bed, though he woke to find the door locked and sealed. The Empire decided the family would be moved. Too many anomalies surrounded them. Too much fear seeped into discipline. Preparations began for transport to the Empire's capital, where greater scrutiny awaited. But on the night before departure, the dog howled again, long and low, reverberating through steel walls. Lights flickered out across the station. Emergency systems flickered. In that darkness, every soldier felt as though eyes were watching them. When power returned, the family sat as they had been, unchanged, but the station never felt the same. Something had shifted. The final report of Section 1 closes with the words of a junior officer, recorded in a private log. He wrote, "We thought them small. We thought them weak. But when I passed their cell, the youngest smiled at me and whispered, 'We are only waiting.' I have faced war, fire, and void. Nothing has unsettled me more. Something is wrong with these humans. Something the Empire should never have touched. The Empire prided itself on discipline, on machinery of conquest, on the absolute belief that fear was a tool used only against others and never within their own ranks. Yet within the confines of the station holding the human family, fear was no longer an abstract weakness. It seeped into every corridor, every patrol, every whispered conversation. The commanders issued orders for stricter oversight. Interrogations grew harsher. They believed that greater pressure would reveal weakness. Instead, it revealed something else. The daughters did not cry, did not bend, did not shatter under strain. Their eyes remained steady, their voices calm. One laughed when shown the destruction of her homeworld on a holoscreen, not in madness, but as if the conquerors had only confirmed what she already knew, that the Empire had overreached. Another tilted her head when a soldier screamed threats at her and asked quietly whether he believed his own words. The youngest asked an interrogator what he dreamed of at night, and when he faltered, she nodded knowingly, though he had never spoken the answer aloud. The dog never ceased its low growl, never broke eye contact with those who approached, and the mother, always silent, watched with patience that felt older than time itself. Strange reports multiplied. Soldiers on duty claimed to hear voices whispering in forgotten dialects. Security teams swore they saw figures moving in corridors, only to find them empty. A physician examining the mother found her pulse steady yet wrong, as though it beat not with blood but with the rhythm of something else. He resigned the next day, citing personal sickness. Engineers documented fluctuations in the ship's energy grid, centered precisely around the human cell. The data could not be explained, but patterns emerged, like waves rising and falling in time with the children's laughter. Attempts to isolate them failed. The Empire scientists insisted on deeper study, probing for genetic abnormalities, psychic resonance, anything to explain the phenomena. What they found unsettled even the most clinical minds. The readings did not align with any catalog human data. Instead, the results suggested distortions in space itself, anomalies resonating with the family's presence. One scientist whispered, in a private note later seized by command, that the children's very existence bent the laws of reality in ways that should have been impossible. He was not seen again after that note was discovered. The dog defied explanation. It slipped from chains without breaking them. It appeared in locked compartments where no door had opened. When one officer attempted to remove the animal from the cell, alarms blared across the station. When the chaos subsided, the officer was gone, his equipment left in a pile on the floor. The dog returned to the children's side, licking their hands as if nothing had occurred. From that day forward, no one dared touch it. Fear became epidemic. Soldiers refused assignments near the prisoners. Rations were delivered by drones. Those forced to stand guard never returned alone. They paired themselves in 3s and 4s, but even then they confessed unease. One swore the youngest daughter spoke to him in his own childhood tongue, though records showed she had never heard it. Another collapsed screaming, insisting the mother had walked to the bars without opening them. The official logs dismissed these incidents as stress. Yet in the unspoken conversations of the crew, a single word began to circulate, which commanders debated how to proceed. Some argued the family must be destroyed before further contamination spread. Others believed the anomalies proved the humans possessed hidden power that could be harnessed by the Empire. The debate grew heated. Orders shifted back and forth. Isolate them, study them, prepare them for transfer, restrain them further. Every decision seemed to breed another incident. Shadows lengthened in the halls. Voices murmured through the vents. The station's clocks desynchronized, each corridor telling a different time. It was as if reality itself bent around the captives. Small demonstrations of power emerged, though none admitted it aloud. A guard was found weeping, saying he had been compelled to unlock the cell door. He never explained why he stopped himself, only muttering that the eldest daughter had looked at him and he had known obedience was no longer his choice. Another guard was discovered dead, his weapon still in hand. A message scrawled in his blood across the wall. "She is behind me." Yet surveillance showed nothing but empty air. The recordings were sealed, but rumors spread faster than fire. The mother remained silent until the night of the 4th week. A disturbance rippled through the station. Alarms, light strobing, gravity cutting in and out. Soldiers rushed to the containment wing. There, for the first time, she spoke. Her voice was calm, low, resonant, a sound that seemed to vibrate in bone rather than ear. She said only one sentence. "You should not have taken my children." Every soldier present swore. They felt the words inside their own minds. Some collapsed. Others fled. None spoke above a whisper for days afterward. In the aftermath, fear hardened into dread. The children's laughter echoed in empty corridors. The dog's howl shattered silence at random intervals, reverberating until systems crashed. Command lost control of the crew. Morale collapsed. Some officers demanded the family be spaced into the void. Others warned that such an act would doom them all. The station existed in paralysis, bound by terror and indecision. At last, orders arrived from the capital. The family was too valuable, too strange to destroy. They would be transferred immediately for judgment before the Empire's highest council. Ships were prepared, escorts assigned, chains reforged. Yet as a convoy assembled, the humans sat untouched, unbroken, watching quietly. The daughters whispered to each other. The dog lay at their feet. And the mother smiled again, the same small smile that had unnerved the first interrogator, a smile that now carried weight like thunder on the horizon. Those who looked upon her smile knew with certainty. Whatever awaited at the capital would not be a trial of humans by the Empire. It would be a trial of the Empire by something far older and far more terrible than any of them could comprehend.